So today is International Holocaust Memorial Day. The official day on the Jewish calendar is in a couple months called Yom HaShoah. But today is an important day because it's when the world remembers, it's when the world pays tribute to the Holocaust. It is so important on so many levels to remember the Holocaust because so many innocents were murdered Jewish, righteous Gentiles, people for their sexual orientation, people for physical disabilities. The list goes on and on. The atrocities, the evil that took place demand that we remember them, remember those who perished, and remember those who perpetrated these horrors for so many different reasons. I want to talk today about the importance of it because we need to be the type of people that remember. So in the Bible, it is said that the number one commandment, 169 times, it's not remember the Sabbath. It's not remember to observe the dietary laws, the other rituals, remember to call your mother, right? Those are all important or can be important things, but it's just to remember. That's what it says over and over again, 169 times. In the Hebrew is zachor, remember. Zachor isn't just something that happens. The word zachor is connected to zachar, which is masculine, and it means to go forth. It means to do. Memory so often is treated as something that just happens to us. I happen to remember my loved one's birthday, my father's anniversary of his death date. And the Jewish tradition challenges us, commands for us not to simply be passive in memory, but to take a stand and to actively remember. One of the ways we do that on the death of a loved one's the anniversary of a loved one's death date is to light a candle. The act of lighting a candle it's in many ways what my teacher, Dr. Viktor Frankl, calls the defiant power of the human spirit. I'm going to shatter this darkness that is still in the world, and it is still in my home, it's still in my heart after my father's death, and I'm going to light this candle literally to dispel the darkness. But symbolically, it's about making a stand, saying, I will not give death a final victory. I will defy death's darkness in so many ways. I will give charity. That's another way we defy death and remember our loved ones on that date, committing to giving charity, to doing good, to transforming my curse into somebody else's blessing. And there's many other ways we show up and say, I was here. When you go to a cemetery and you visit a loved one, you put a stone on their grave as an act of memory, of showing up, just getting to the gravesite, showing up, putting the rock down and saying, I was here, I'm making a stand, I am defying death. We do that for individuals. We do that for the collective. That's why this day is so important. And other memorial days, it isn't just the Holocaust memorial that we need to, the Holocaust Day that we need to remember. So many worthy ones. But today we're talking about the Holocaust because we say, never again in the Jewish tradition, never again will we allow this to happen. Will we stand idly by and watch everything that led up to the Holocaust take place? We will shatter the silence. We will never again let it happen through never forgetting. The mystic Baal Shem Tov says, forgetfulness leads to exile. Memory is the source of redemption. When we forget something like the Holocaust, when we forget other atrocities that happen to other people, when we forget, all of the injustice that happens in our world today, you pick the topic. When we forget, we are on the pathway to exile. What is exile? It is losing our way. It is losing our place in the world. It is losing our connection to what is right, to what is good, to what is true. When we forget a day like today, when we forget our loved ones and what they stood for, what they sacrificed, what they gave to us, we are on the pathway to losing ourselves, to losing our way, to exile. But he says memory is the source of redemption. When we actively engage a day like today and we do something to demonstrate that we will not forget, that we will remember, then we are on our pathway to redemption, to being saved, not religiously, as a human being, as a person, as a spirit here in this life. What we are saying is, I will not lose my way. I will not lose my way by helping others, those who no longer have a voice, whose voice was taken from them prematurely at the hands of evil. I will not lose my way by contributing to the world through justice and participating in justice. I will not lose my way giving charity, helping a brother, a sister in need. I will not lose my way by reciting words of love. Martin Luther King, in the face of hate, that's what drives out hate. Not hate, but love and light and life. I will not lose my way by simply remembering. One of my favorite sayings, that a person dies two deaths, once when their body dies and once when their story dies. There is nothing we can do about bodily death. The 6 million that were eradicated, your loved one that physically died, there's nothing at this moment we can do about it, but we can defy the second death. We can become a guardian of their story. You are a guardian of your loved one's story, and when you remember them, actively remember them, when you live out their worthy example, when you perpetuate the essence of who they were, you defy that second death. And we do it collectively. In this case, with the Holocaust, when we remember what was taken, what was sacrificed, what was lost, when we pay tribute on a day like today, we become a guardian of their story. And we make sure that never again is not only a beautiful slogan, but is a beautiful reality, that this never does again. And we apply that not only to the Jewish people, but to Christians, to Muslims, to anybody, to people around sexual orientation or the color of their skin, anybody who's perceived as other. We reach out to them and we make them realize they are not other, and we remind ourselves that they are not other. There is so much division and hate right now. This idea is transformative. It's why the Bible says over and over and over, remember what it's like to be an outsider, to be an other. You were a foreign people in a foreign nation. You Israelites, you were the other. Remember what that was like. Stand guard against that. Do not allow yourself to turn people into other, and do not allow any people to be turned into an other, because that is the pathway to exile. Let me end with this. Dr. Viktor Frankl, like millions and millions of others, was incarcerated in the Holocaust, and he was given, his name was taken away. He was just given a number, 119104, like most prisoners, at least in Auschwitz. They were reduced to a number. They were reduced to an other, because that is the pathway to exile. You start stripping them of their identity, of their dignity, of their worth, and they're just a number, and numbers can be disposed of. But what Dr. Frankl demonstrated, and what each and every one of us has to do, is that he did not accept that number. He did not allow himself to be a number. He essentially said that even though he was a prisoner, he was never imprisoned. He never gave way to hate. Same message of Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King and the great men and women throughout history remind us that they were never imprisoned because they were always free. On this day of the Holocaust remembrance, do not give way to hate. Do not buy into this otherness and turning people into the other, into numbers. Dr. Frankl was never that number. No human being is a number. Every human being has infinite worth. Our mission is to guard against the creeping that's happening in our society, watching other people and us turn other people into other. We are brothers, we are sisters, we are human beings, we are in this together. Today is a day to draw upon that defiant power of the human spirit, not given to the other, to the darkness. Defy the darkness. Guard the story of your individual loved ones and those who perished in the Holocaust. Keep going, keep loving, Keep illuminating the way through that love and that light and that life. Jump over to My Soul Centered. You can learn more about these topics and so much more. Would love to hear from you about how you're defying death's darkness individually for your loved one, collectively for the Jews who perished in the Holocaust, or any people who were attempted and reduced to another. Keep fighting the good fight, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, shalom, salam, namaste, peace.